So we're on episode 14, and it's the second challenge that Martin set for us. So last week we did the golden hour, and this week what we're up to, Scott?
This week is it's like the History Channel, isn't it? I think that the challenge was to take a photo of a building and do a bit of research and then edit that photo in the style of kind of, don't know, did he say when the building was built or when the building was kind of at its prime? Because there's a bit of a difference there.
There is, and I took it as when it was built. But what me and Scott have done is, because we both do wedding photography, there's a lot of old listed buildings, and it seemed common sense really to have a look through some of the ones that we've done, and I think you've done the same, haven't you?
Yeah, kind of just have a look at some of the kind of venues that we've used before and pick something from there. Just to give us a bit more research time, I think, really.
Yeah. Just a question. If you were to do a task on a building from 1827, based on the style of the photograph at that point, how would you go about that?
Well, it kind of calls back a little bit to some of the research that I've done for the B-roll, because as you'll have seen, my building originally was kind of built in the 1690s.
Wow. Okay. So is that when Nikon had just made the first camera?
Yeah, first mirrorless, I think.
Yeah.
We were back then. But yeah, you're right. I mean, essentially, when the building was first built, there wasn't any photography. So I've had to take a little bit of a liberty with that, and kind of looked at it from a slightly different angle, which you'll see.
Yeah, that sounds like a cop-out, to be honest with you. But I've also done the same thing. Yeah, I mean, the building that I've done, which you'll see in a minute, is it was built in 1827, and again, I had to try and I went for the type of picture where it's been floating around for past couple of centuries, and so you're going to see some wear and tear on it, and you're going to see poor camera settings and that type of thing. Do you know
that old excuse?
That excuse, yeah.
Yeah, use a bit of Photoshop to mask poor camera settings.
Yeah.
See what you done there?
Yeah, it was very easy actually. It just came naturally. So,
shall we take a look at yours then?
Yeah, so we'll look at mine then. So here's my challenge, Martin. So this week's challenge was set by Martin. This is 2 of 2 that he set for us. The first one was the golden hour, which you saw last week, and then this one was to take a building or a structure and take a picture of it in the style of the age it was built. The tricky thing with me is, on the building that I've chosen, it was built in 1827. and it was a building that Churchill frequented probably once or twice. It used to be a government building years ago, but now it's called the Churchill Hotel and it's in York. And the reason I was there is because at the weekend I was photographing a wedding, and as I was walking round, I was thinking this is probably a good idea to get this as the challenge, this building. So I've taken a number of pictures, and what I'm going to show you in a moment is a few of those, 4 or 5, and I've tried to give the feel that the pictures are taken on a poor quality camera, but apart from that, based on the date of 1827, I've also tried to make the pictures look distressed as well. So let's have a look.
The location of this fine Grade 2 listed mansion is on the line of the main Roman approach to the city of York, and Bootham Bar was one of the original Roman gateways into the city fortress of Eboracum. The house is of circa 7 and appears on Robert Cooper's plan of York 1832. The owner at that time being Mrs. Barbara Ashton Nelson, and the property is described as a mansion and pleasure grounds in the first-rate assessment in 1837. The house passed between various private owners until 1875, when it was run as a school for young ladies, until 1879 by Mrs. Inchgold, and it was known as Bootham House. In 1882 the property was sold to Her Majesty's Principal Secretary for the War Department. By 1886 Piggott's directory shows that the neighbouring Grosvenor Terrace had been formed and that Major General F.A. Wallace C.B. was in occupation of the house. By 1892 the building was described as Government House and was occupied by Major General Charles Frederick T. Daniel C.B. One of many distinguished visitors was the Prince of Wales, who stayed as a guest in July 1890.
Okay, so here's the Churchill Hotel, looking really nice. It was a perfect day, and whilst it's an old looking building, there's quite a number of things which kind of tell you that this wasn't the 1820s. Cars, there's pizza, fine dining, and then obviously there's the modern tables around with the little lights here. And then we've got the buildings there, but generally, we've got the pizza shack there. But generally, this was quite an interesting building, and I'm going to show you how I distressed the picture. So we're in Lightroom at the moment, so let me just bring it back out. Edit in Photoshop. go. It was meant to be in the style. I didn't have to remove things from it. It was just supposed to be in the style of the day. And I guess based on the year it was built, I would struggle to compare it with a photograph really from that day. So what I've had to do is look at similar type of sketches, photos, and address it that way, and obviously take into consideration the wear and tear of the picture. So Martin, that is my challenge completed. So those were the pictures. So I've shown you to begin with. These pictures were actually taken last weekend, and so I've shown you the before and the after. So obviously the before is just a nice sunny day, and the after is the distressed look. And I know I showed you the tutorial on Photoshop of how I distressed it. And to look at it, you might think that there's a lot of hard work gone into that, but because I've used covers and then used blending modes on them, it was easy to do.
I like it that it looks like it's been folded up in somebody's pocket.
Yeah,
for quite a while, folded up in a like a scrapbook or something.
Yeah, and I think with the age of the building, obviously, like with yours, obviously 1600s, there's no photos to compare it to. But I tried to go back to what I'd seen of really old buildings when they was taken, first of all, and that was obviously black and white.
Yeah.
Apart from the couple that I've done in colour, which I actually liked, but I wanted them to still have the authentic look to them. But so
it's pretty good.
I don't know if that kind of fulfills the challenge that Martin set. It's one that I've not really done before.
No, we'll have to see if he'll actually comment on the episode afterwards to give us a yay or a nay with whether we've managed to do it or not.
Yeah, let us know if we've done it. What I wanted to do was I wanted to find an old photograph and then take it from the same angle. Do you know what I mean? So actually show you the old photograph. But because this building was renovated into what it is in 1984, there wasn't really anything that I could gather really in order to do that. So I've a similar thing as you'll see shortly, but I struggle to find some old photos. Yeah. So Scott, let's have a look at your stuff then.
Here we go. This is my challenge.
So the building that I've chosen is Neweer Hall, and it's a wedding venue that I shot up near Ripon in North Yorkshire. So I'm just going to have a look through and see what I can find out about it. Okay, so found out a few things that I'm unsure when Neweer Hall was originally built. The old house was demolished, and then the new house as it is now was built in the 1690s. which could be a bit of a problem trying to find the photography style of the time. Seeing as photography wasn't invented until around 1826. So yeah, interesting. Apparently the hall was used during the Second World War as one of the country retreats selected for the royal family to retreat to if necessary, although I don't think it was ever actually used. The place has actually been used quite a lot through different films and TV shows. Most notably, one of my favourites, Peaky Blinders, was shot there, and it gets used a lot for period dramas because you can't see any evidence of kind of modern world when you're there. There's no roads or cars or any sign of kind of modern technology, no mobile phone towers or anything like that. So it does get used quite a lot in film and production, which is really cool. And the current owners, Compton family, they've actually lived in the houses now since around 1748, which is like hundreds of years of ancestry and stuff. That's really cool. So in terms of the look that I think I'm going to go for, I think I'm going to go for something around the 1920s for two reasons. One, that's when the kind of house as it stands now was kind of at its peak as such, and also that's when kind of photography started getting a bit more mainstream, I believe. I had a lot of famous photographers around that period, most notably Ansel Adams in the 20s as well. So it gives me an excuse to do some black and white edits on these photos. So I'm going to pick a few, do a bit of research, and let's get editing. So these are the photos that I've kind of selected to edit. I'll run through them briefly before I do the actual editing, just so that we can kind of have a look at what they are. So this is the kind of view from the gardens, where you see the kind of scale of the property and the pond. This is a kind of alternate view of the front of the house, kind of entranceway, and another view of this kind of same entrance. This was the ceremony room where I actually did the wedding, and as you can see from the left hand side there, there's some really nice light flooding in. Just a shame that the top end of the room where the table is, there's quite a bit of shadow there from the pillars, but still some really nice light. Another interior shot, another one out of the pond and the statue at the back, and then this is one of the group shots. I kind of included this just so you can see the scale of the garden in the background, and that you can't see any roads or cars or anything, as I mentioned, so just gives you a bit of an idea of the actual kind of scale of things again. So I'm going to get rid of these two. Probably get rid of that one, that one, and that one. Let's go with 3. 3's a good number. There's your before and after, which it's not quite sepia, it's not quite black and white. Added a bit of extra film grain in there and a bit of lens blur to soften it around the edges. I think it gives a nice olden day feel. Again, exactly the same on this one. Blown out the sky a bit on this interior shot. So there we have it. Final 3 shots coming up. I'm happy with those. Let's see what James thinks.
What do you think of that?
That looked like an old house that I used to own.
You're not one of the Comptons, are you?
Yeah. It's quite an impressive building anyway, isn't it? But
I think like you say, like you've got the bit of B-roll with the speeded up stuff and the editing, but like you say, I think because when the house was built, there wasn't any kind of photography. I've kind of looked at it from the angle of when it was renovated, when it was brought to kind of what it is today, and gone from then, which, as you can see, I mean, it's cheating a little bit because that's 1920s. So straight away you've got Ansel Adams, your black and white, and off you go. But it's a stunning house. They do live there. And I can't remember how much it is actually. It's on that B-roll that we've just seen, but you can go and spend the day there, have a look around the house, have a tour of the gardens. There's a miniature railway in the gardens and stuff. Wow. So it's a really cool place.
What I liked about that building was that the one I'd done, obviously I was at a wedding, and outside there was the garden where you could have your pizzas and drinks and stuff. So there was quite a lot of activity going on today, whereas the pictures that you've got, apart from obviously maybe one or two guests that you was taking pictures of for the group shot and that type of thing, it was pretty much untouched, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was quite lucky that I was there. I don't know what to say, lucky, but I was there quite a while before the guests got there. Yeah. And then when they did, they kind of held them in an outer room, which gave me the chance to get the interior kind of shots. But then after the main ceremony, we did the group shots outside, but then the kind of wedding breakfast was in the orangery.
Oh, right, okay.
Was... I'll tell you another funny story actually. But they took the bride and groom down to the orangery in like a golf cart. and drove down there. So it was a bit of a walk, but that meant that it left the kind of house without any guests around it, so I could get those couple of extra shots.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, the funny story, and we're quite lucky that this only goes out to tens of people rather than tens of thousands, because it's the first wedding, and I say first because I dare say it may happen again at some point, where I split my pants.
Okay. That old trick to get people laughing.
Yeah, completely. I mean, luckily, I was wearing kind of dark grey.
I remember you telling me.
And I had black underwear on rather than the kind of crazy bright colours that I normally wear. But I literally split my pants from the very bottom seam up to the bottom of my fly.
Oh dear. It's good if you won't go in your normal commando then.
No, it could have been awful. And I didn't have any spares with me, which I don't know. Do you ever take spare pants to a wedding?
No, I take spare shirts, but that's about it.
Yeah, spare shirt, but like maybe if you take long sleeves for during day and short sleeves for on a night, and I do the same. But from then on, I've always thrown a pair of jeans in car just in case, because it could have been disastrous. And I mean, it could have been even worse if I'd not noticed and one of the guests did before I did. But yeah, pretty embarrassing.
Sorry, did you say the guests noticed before you?
No, it could have been.
Right, okay.
I noticed first, and I managed to speak to like the concierge guy. That was it wasn't like the ceremony guy, but he was the kind of person that was in charge of getting people to be in the right place at the right time. Yeah. Luckily, he managed to get me a couple of safety pins. Not an area that you can necessarily see yourself, is it? You know what I mean? So I wasn't going to ask him to do it for me, but I kind of just muddled my way through. But yeah.
Was that at the back end of the day then?
It actually happened after the ceremony, as everybody was making their way down to the orangery, because what I did was I took everything out of the house because it was closing the main house down to go put it in the car. And as I got in the car to drive down to the orangery, obviously I got in the car, forgot to kind of oik my trousers up a little bit, and as I sat in the car, it just ripped open.
Oh dear.
Well, I don't know but have we had any more suggestions for next challenges?
No, we haven't. Still got time. I mean, we could, if we put it out for some challenges. So Martin's, you've heard Martin's name quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. So it's time for somebody else's name, do you think?
He doubled up on us, didn't he?
Yeah. So, if you got any ideas as to, as I mentioned last week, of challenges that you want us to try doing, it can be as hard as you like, as long as it doesn't involve jumping out of planes or crazy things like that. We'll give it a go.
Definitely.
But I mean, as for what we've done today, I think we're both kind of on the same wavelength, and this is the first time we've actually spoke about what we've done.
Because we knew we weren't going to be able to go out and do something together, so we kind of just left it that, let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to go, like I said, I was going to go into Saltaire, but when I was walking around the building, it would have been like a chance missed, really. The fact that I'm actually thinking about where to go, and I'm actually stood somewhere with quite a lot of history in the first place.
It kind of made a lot of sense to do it at the weddings. I think we kind of think we did the right thing there.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't do, which I would have liked to, but it wouldn't have been right to do it, is during the wedding, me doing some audio and talking about the building and everybody waiting outside for the group shot whilst I'm wandering around with a GoPro and just imagine.
There'd have been understanding. Yeah. Do they not realise it's for the Scott and James shot?
Yeah. What I should have done is I should have got some Scott and James T-shirts and handed them out to them
Yeah, could have maybe interviewed a couple of the guests to ask them what they think of the Scott and James show.
Yeah, but the only trouble with that is they would have had to sit through about 14 hours worth just to understand what I was talking about in the first place.
Yeah, just to get to where we are now.
Yeah, but it'll come the day where we'll be getting stopped in the street and pelted with something.
Oh, yeah, but recognise we'll have to wear disguises.
Yeah, it's an idea. It's an idea. So, are we wrapped up for today then, do you reckon?
I think that's it until next time, yeah.
Yeah. So, as I say, if you've got any challenges that you want us to try, just send them to either me or Scott or on any of our social media pages. In addition to that, subscriptions are always good, so please subscribe to Scott's channel and have a look at mine. Subscribe, click on a like, and just let us know your thoughts, really.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has been fun. So until next week,
See you later.
see you later.
Ta-da.
Right.
Just get a low battery warning.